Hey guys, what's up? So if my makeup looks worn down, it's because I've actually had a bunch of stuff I had to do today with my mom. My shoulder is killing me, but this is going to be a doozy. This is going to be a long video because we're going to go through my makeup stash eyeshadow palettes edition. And this isn't even going to be all of my eyeshadow palettes. I still have some I haven't even found yet. Some are in my to try pile. But I do want to know how many eyeshadow palettes I currently own, so I am going to try to keep track of them also. Okay, so first off we have this LA Colors Peach Fizz palette. I've actually hit pan in this palette, as you can see. This isn't the absolute best palette per se, but it is something I definitely think could work. Like, this has some serious hard pan on it. But, I mean, it is what it is. Every time I pull this palette out, I just think so much of fall, and the looks I get with it are very fall reminiscent. I have this She Glam Glitz Wiz palette. This is the Brick Lane one, so it's the dupe for the Natasha Denona palette. I'm not the biggest fan of the Metropolis palette dupes or the actual palette itself. I am going to swatch some shades for you guys, just so you guys can see. Like, this actually I do think is not a bad palette. I just have a tough time with the color story personally. I personally have a tough time with this color story. I do with the Metropolis palette also, though, so that's just a me thing. Another She Glam palette I have is the Glitz List palette. Super duper cute. I actually like the packaging on this one a little bit better. It's less scratchy. These shimmers are nice, but I'm going to show you in the swatches of the shades that I picked. They're sheer. They're a sheer formula for swatches, like for shimmers, I mean. See how these are more opaque and you have more of a base? These are definitely more sheer and, like, base. And the third She Glam palette I have here, in this section I've already gone through and I've already organized, is this Afterglow palette. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette. This I actually do like quite a bit, and I'll show you guys. Some of my favorite shades to dig into are swatched on my finger. They're really, really nice. I really like them too. And I have a video comparing these. I don't know if it'll be up by the time this video goes up. Hopefully it will be, because I put quite a lot of time into comparing these palettes to Natasha Denona's palettes to show you if they're dupes or not. So, would like to get those, you know, up and on the channel. I have the Profusion Desert Sage palette. I am not really a fan of this, and I'm going to show you, like, this hot pink is just not really hot pink. This pressed glitter is not really good. It's weird to store, honestly. Like, this just, like, the formula is very, very dry. That pink's not really how I was thinking it would be. I mean, that's a pretty look in itself, but you can even see on the swatches, it's just not the best. I do have one Makeup Revolution palette. It's the Ultimate Nudes Light, at least for what I remember. I'm not the biggest fan of Makeup Revolution, and I'm going to show you these shimmers in one of these mattes. Like, you can kind of see. And we're not decluttering today, I'm just showing you what is in my collection at the moment. I am going to eventually declutter this. I have a very giant obsession with eyeshadow palettes, so I tend to only declutter like one every time I come into this like little area, and I have no idea which one I will declutter, because there's quite a few that I'm not really the biggest fan of, like this one, that I could declutter, but I can see myself getting use out of this with another palette, if that makes sense. I have this Hard Candy and Marilyn Monroe palette. I've had this for so long. It honestly could get decluttered. It's not really the best anymore. And I'll show you this face highlight. This face highlight, I never use it on my face because it's super duper chunky. You see that purple, I don't really get much pigment off of it anymore, and same goes for that black. So I definitely could see myself decluttering this one in the future, but I am such a big fan of Marilyn Monroe, which is why I have the Jasmine Chiswell collection. It's because I love Marilyn Monroe. That's why I have this. This palette is actually what sparked my love for makeup again. This is the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams palette. Alright, this is the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams palette. This is a funny story. This collection came out last year, 2022. I think, around tax time, and I had seen it and I was like, I had seen Kelly Strack like review it and I was like, I'm not interested in that palette, but I'm interested in other stuff from it. So I was like, I'm not going to get that palette. And I was in the store and I had cash on me and I saw this palette and I was like, well, I might as well get it just to declutter it. Use it and didn't declutter it. Look at that pigment on that matte brown. This isn't the best blue ever. I am the queen of blue eyeshadow. I love blue eyeshadow, but like, look at that. That is such great pigmentation. And like, e.l.f. does have a good formula for their bite-sized palettes. I just personally, I ended up decluttering mine because I have so many palettes. I don't need so many. But I have this still for a reason, because I have emotional attachments to it, because I think the story is hilarious that I went in thinking I wasn't going to like this and I got it just to like use it once and then declutter it, and I actually really enjoy it. It's better than a lot of other palettes, as you can see in my collection. Like, look at that black compared to that black. Look at that. And I have this Juvia's Place Warrior 2 palette. I have other Juvia's Place palettes that will be later on. I just haven't reorganized them next to each other. I love this shade right here. So light and gorgeous. I love this matte black. I love this for deepening up. And I'll show you this shade here, just so that way you can get something from warmth. So here is that black. Like, look at that. That is the best black in my collection, honestly. Look at that nice, like, little contour shade. You can definitely deepen that up. That is a black brown, true and true. And look at that. Not a lot of work went into swatching that, too. So I don't think I have enough space to go through my whole collection. So what I think I'm going to do is, when my light dies in the video, let it charge, and then come back and film another part. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back and film another part, and we'll just keep going through it. And I'll just be posting these like in a row or something like that. I don't know. But we're continuing on. So I have, hang on. I have these by brand right now. I have 6 ColourPop palettes right now, right here. I have this one in Clearly in Love. These are not really the best, to be completely honest. And I can show you in these swatches. They are not the best formula-wise. I've heard a lot of other YouTubers also say, I don't really swatch with this hand, so, like, that's a Super Shock shade, and it's just, like, not really intense. That's a little pretty, that's pretty, but that's not really intense. Those in the clear packaging I have just found just are not really the absolute best. I do think that I can make them work, which is why I still have most of them. This is Clear the Air. This is the orange one. So again, these Super Shock shades that are in here just like aren't really, and I want to swatch this orange just to show you. They're just not really the best. They're not really the best at all. They're just not a good formula. Like, look at that. You can tell in the swatches they're not good. I also have this one in Costa's Clear. Now, one of the shades in mine actually did pop out. I'm not sure if I can show you. See? So every time I go in here, I have to be, like, aware of the one shade that, like, legit pops out every time. I'll swatch it for you, too. I think that color story-wise, this is probably my favorite. I just think ColourPop doesn't put the best quality in the clear packaging ones. And like I said, I can see myself decluttering these in the future. Like, nobody can tell me that those are good swatches. They're not. I love ColourPop. I probably have more palettes from ColourPop once we get further on than I do from any other brand. I have Going Coconuts. And I have to be I'm going to swatch the shimmers. And let me swatch that one. Like, I am very excited to be able to show you guys, like, what an actual ColourPop shimmer swatch is like. It's so much better. That's just so much better. I also have the Honey palette. Now, I'm not a fan of the glitter in here. And I'm not really a fan of yellows on my eyes, to be completely honest. They think that they make me look a little sickly. And I'm glad I actually invested in this palette instead of getting a super expensive one. Like, I hate ColourPop's glitters. I love ColourPop formula-wise, which is why I buy so much from ColourPop. Like, I have ColourPop open in my tabs on the internet like literally constantly. I'm always buying stuff from ColourPop. I love ColourPop so much. And I just like, they have a hit or a miss formula for me. And I don't know why they have two separate formulas. I really don't. This is the Secret Admirer palette. I got this literally just because it looked like an envelope. And I actually skipped out on this past Valentine's Day's palette because I felt like it was so similar to this one. I want to swatch the two heart pans. So with Love and My Everything. And I'll swatch this hot pink and In the Mood. So you get a little bit of everything because you have, this is a matte, this is a matte. Look at how pigmented that is. That's not the best pink. Like the shimmers you can see are kind of like up here bad ones, but the mattes are really good. I have the That's Taupe palette from ColourPop. This is like what I've always wanted, is to be like covered in sparkly things. So I want to show you how light this palette goes and how deep this palette goes, as well as one of those kind of like Super Shock shadows and a regular shimmer. So this kind of reminds me of the Super Shock formula right here. And then here is how the lightest shade in the palette, deepest shade in the palette, and that's a regular shimmer. Very, very cool tone. I go through phases where I love cool tones. I just go through phases. Currently I'm in a phase where I am in love with colorful shadows. So, yeah. I'm already at 15 palettes. I have the Anastasia Soft Glam 2 palette. I want to show you the black for sure, the lightest shade, and I'll swatch these two shimmers just so that way you guys can have a healthy like dosage. There's that black. It's not the absolute best black, but you can build it up. That's the lightest shade, and the two shimmers. I also have the Primrose palette. I think it is very important for me to let you guys know that these palettes are used. These are used. I've used these palettes. These shimmers in here, I'm just going to swatch the 4 shimmers I have right here because these shimmers are just on another level gorgeous. These shimmers are just on another level of gorgeous, creamy butteriness, smooth love. Here's another one of those palettes in my collection that I'm kind of like, This is the original Kylie Bronze palette. And I'm glad I can show you guys how crap these shimmers are. Like, this one has hard pan so bad. This is a crappy black. And I'll even do this orange. Just so you guys can see. And I have like a lot on my finger. That's a very lackluster shimmer. Look at it compared to like that. Or that. Another very, very lackluster shimmer. Okay, I also have this Rare Beauty Magnetic Spirit palette. This is an all shimmer palette. I love this shade here. So gorgeous. This is such a gorgeous purple. I don't have anything like that in my collection. I love this green for a grungy look. And I'll even do this champagne shade here. Alright, so let's just do that here. These shimmers are just like so... And I have this custom 9-pan palette from Jeffree Star. This is the ColourPop single. It's a glitter. I'll show it to you guys. Let me show you his black. I'll show you how intense his pinks are too. Okay. So that's a glitter. Oh, I stopped because my mom gave me my birthday card for my grandma. Anyways, you can kind of see, like, it's just not really the best glitter. Let's place that black right there. I've always wanted to be covered in makeup. And now I am. Look how intense that pink is. And that's a good building pink, too. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put these palettes back where they go. And I'll be back with more palettes. I wanted to tell you guys we are ending this section right now off with 20 palettes. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. It's going to get bad. I knew I had a lot of palettes, but I didn't think it was going to be this many palettes. We're definitely going to have to split this up into multiple sessions. Okay, so continuing on with the Jeffree Star, I have, hang on, 8 more Jeffree Star palettes. So this is my custom 28 pan magnetic palette. This is a ColourPop shadow. The rest are Jeffree Stars. What should I swatch? I'm going to go ahead and swatch. This is Razor Blade. It's one of my favorite shades in the Weirdo palette. Titanic Ice is one of my favorite shades in the Blue Blood palette. And I'll swatch this really sparkly black. And I'll swatch Money Heist as well from, what is it, Blood Money? I wanted to make sure I got it. Okay. Razor Blade, Ice, Death, and Money Heist. Okay, so this is the Mini Breaker palette. This is one of my favorite colorful palettes. I got it literally just for this shade right here called Coral. It's not really the best duochrome. I really love this purple. I'll do this matte purple and Orange Crush. Because Kai loves Orange Crush. So does Jackson. See, this is not really the best duochrome. It's very lackluster. Love that matte purple. And in case you guys forgot, I have this in my current giveaway. Information is in the description box. So this is the Mini Controversy palette. I'm not a fan of Shane Dawson. I literally just got this because I wanted the whole entire Jeffree Star collection. This is like not my cup of tea. Honestly, like for a palette, like I want to show you this purple. That purple is legit the same, maybe a little more pigmented. And this is the Mini Controversy. This is the Emerald Edition. This is my favorite one because of this green. I will swatch this green for you. This green is amazing. I love Diet Root Beer. Honestly, it's a really good shade. I'm not really a fan of that shade, and I'll swatch Canceled because it's kind of ironic that they got canceled after this stuff. It's really good matte blue. Alright, Mini Orgy. There was a controversy with this, not just with the name. This is an all shimmer palette. It's not the absolute best. I tend to just stick to these 3 shades. I'll try to show you guys other shades. That is so soft and smooth. Alright, just because I want to show you guys some of the shimmers. That's a nice shimmer. Here's a nice one. This one's a little bit more. I use that more of a face highlight. I have Blood Sugar. I got this in the anniversary kit. This is the new shade. Love this. This is such a good shade as well. I love the mattes in here. So I'll just show you those mattes. So here is the new shade. Look at how gorgeous that is. I have the Mini Star Ranch palette. I actually love the feel of this. This just kind of looks like leftovers from Orgy and Blue Blood, honestly. Like, ooh, that one's actually coming out. He actually does sell these as singles. I want to get this shade as a single because I would probably be more inclined to declutter this palette if I had this shade as a single because I love that shade. I also want to do this one, and I'll just show you this green one also. Okay, so I want to swatch those 2 blues next to each other. They look similar on camera, but they're not extremely similar. And I'm just going to put this brown right there so you guys can see that. I want to swatch this blue next to Canceled. Just tiny, tiny, tiny bit of a difference. And there's that green. There. And the last one in the Jeffree Star collection right now is the Weirdo palette. Again, here is Razor Blade. Here is Weirdo. I'm going to swatch this shade and... Okay. I'm going to show you Razor Blade because this, like I said, is one of my favorite shades. It's just so gorgeous. And Weirdo, this is just a really good black, so put that there. So if you guys want me to compare that to other blacks, let me put this red right next to the Blood Sugar ones because, and that's Mohawk. Figure the like you could look and see the comparable like the swatches. I have two palettes right now from Laura Lee Los Angeles. I have more. This is the Boss Babe palette. I actually enjoy these shimmers quite a bit. The mattes are a little hit or miss for me, but I really am enjoying these shimmers. And I have Sleigh Bell from Laura Lee. My green is broken, which is my favorite shade in this palette. I am going to swatch the shimmers, and I'll swatch the Cherry Chocolate matte. So I want to show you this green next to that Shane Dawson green. So you can see the difference. And you can also see here. I'm going to place them here. Those are the shimmers, and there's that matte. I have right now one palette from Dominique Cosmetics. I have a lot of her palettes. They're just going to be further into probably other videos. This is Dominique Cosmetics' Unconditional palette. Love this. I love the glitter. I don't always reach for the glitter, but I love it. Have to swatch Jaden because she's a boy mom. I am a boy mom as well. And I'm also going to show you the shimmer and this shimmer, this matte. So there is the glitter. I prefer this glitter formula over ColourPop's. I don't always go for glitter, though, to be completely honest. Okay, I do only have one Charlotte Tilbury palette. I'm not a fan of Charlotte Tilbury's formula. I'm sorry, I'm just not. This is the Pillow Talk palette, so I'm going to take these two, and I'll do this shimmer and this matte to show you guys. So, like I said, I'm not a fan of her formula. So I am not able to justify the $75 asking price for these, or even the $54 asking price for the quads. I've ended up decluttering almost all of my quads from her. I've bought like 4 or 5, and I only have one in my collection still. I have 3 Natasha Denona palettes right here. I have every single Natasha Denona palette except for like 5, so there's more coming. This is one of my favorites. It's the Glam Face Palette. This is the light one. Love this. The shimmers in here are just outstanding. I'll show you a matte, and I want to swatch the cream blush for you guys. Okay, so those shimmers, again, stunning. That matte, gorgeous. And then that is the blush. This is the dark version of the Glam Face palette. I don't like this one as much as the other one because this kind of like shimmer was really a spray over. I thought it was more orange. This is really pretty. Okay, so for this one I'm also doing the blush and the highlight. So here are those two shimmers. Not a fan of that shimmer, and because there's only 5 shades in here, that cuts a giant chunk off. There's the blush, there's the highlight. Alright, and I have the Star palette. This was like $169. Super duper expensive, but I do like it. This is what actually got my craze for Natasha Denona started. I think it was this one. Do this one, and I'll do that light pink matte. Okay, so I personally buy Natasha Denona for her shimmers. Her shimmer formula is so stunningly amazing. Oops. See, I don't have a problem decluttering expensive stuff because I have decluttered Charlotte Tilbury before, but my Natasha Denona, you'll have to pry from my cold dead hands. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Okay, now we're going into Pat McGrath. I have 6 palettes from Pat McGrath. This is the Rose Decadence palette. Not my favorite. I can see myself decluttering this in the future. I have most of the shimmers. I feel like most people go for shimmers nowadays, so it's right here. I'm not sure if I showed you guys. I do have the first Bridgerton palette. This was the first palette I bought from Pat McGrath that made me obsessed with her brand, and this blue gets me every time. I always reach for that blue. And I'm going to swatch. I swatched one of the baked gelée formulas. I swatched this Blitz Astral shade. Here's a gelée formula. It's kind of satin. Here is one of her regular shimmers. And then here is a matte. In case you're curious, I do have more Pat McGrath than what is right here. I just haven't organized everything yet. This is the second Bridgerton palette. So again, I'll swatch the special shade. Swatch this shade. I'll swatch the matte, and I'll swatch I'm going to do this shimmer actually. Okay, so here is a special shade. Another special shade, I think. Matte Shimmer. Alright, Mothership 1 Subliminal. My favorite Mothership, probably of all time. So I'm going to swatch her special shades. Like, let me just be clear. The reason these palettes are worth so much money is because of the special shades. So, I actually think I'll swatch it next to these blues, so you guys can see the difference between Pat McGrath. This was a Jeffree Star and a Jeffree Star. Alright, so here is the shade here, here, and there. Really pretty. I have to be honest, I cannot imagine that there's much battery left on this light, so we're probably going to be finishing up soon. I have the second Mothership, which is Sublime. I'm going to switch hands. Again, because I'm letting the other one dry since I just cleaned it off. Alright, so here's the second Mothership. Here are the special shades. I'm going to swatch the special shades for you guys. I just swatched on the wrong hand, too. Wow. Kai, are you masker-sizing with Mickey? Yeah. You're done? I figured. Alright, so here are her special shades. I don't always go for her special shades whenever I reach into one of these palettes, but I do think that that's personally for me the reason I buy the palettes is for the special shades. Like, for me personally, I think that it makes it worth it. It's my 900,000 eyeshadow palette. So this is Subversive. This is the third Mothership. Okay. And I'm going to swatch the special shades. I almost never reach into the special shades when I go into this palette. I like the shimmers. The shimmers are pretty good, but I am swatching all the special shades from Pat McGrath for you guys. So. Okay, so the light just died, so I am going to end it here. I got through the whole top part of my eyeshadow palettes, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be filming this video for the next 2 days, and we're going to make it in parts. So this is part 1, and we ended with, let's see, 41 eyeshadow palettes. Okay, I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoy. I think I'm going to go watch some Resident Evil. Alright, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know how I'm going to organize posting these. I'll probably just do them separately. So, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye, y'all.